Welcome back to Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today is Tuesday, November 12th, 2019. And let's find out what's going on in the world of bodybuilding and fitness. If the Olympia is the Super Bowl of bodybuilding, then in my mind, the Arnold Classic is like a conference championship game. Everything is high stakes. A win there can be a career-defining moment, and more often than not, we use shows like that as a measuring stick for how people perform against the best competition. So that's a long-winded way of saying there's a lot on the line for fellow Cambronero next March. These are the moments that can make or break careers in some cases, and with the Classic Physique title potentially up for grabs, this could be the time to shine. Speaking of make or break moments, is there any one athlete in bodybuilding feeling that pressure more than Shawn Rhoden right now? With Shawn slated to make his return to the stage next year in Columbus, Ohio, it feels like the stakes are so incredibly high for his career that this could end up being one of the most important chapters of his story. It could be a phoenix rising from the ashes, or it could just end up being nothing but ashes. The point is, we don't know. It's all up in the air for a guy who is clearly one of the greatest athletes of his generation. It is almost exactly by definition a career-defining moment for the legacy of Shawn Rhoden. Now on the men's end of the spectrum, at the Arnold we have Brandon Hendrickson, who's heading into Columbus as one of the more interesting cases. Here we have a guy who's a former Arnold Classic champ, former Olympia champ, and someone who's generally regarded as one of the top 2 or 3 athletes of the last 5 years, who's coming into the show as an underdog. From my understanding, Brandon's been having a solid offseason so far, which he usually does. But you have to stop and wonder whether or not that's enough at this point. Championship windows open and shut so fast that they're usually done and over with before we even know it happened. This is a pivotal moment for Brandon Hendrickson and for the division, because what happens here will go a long way towards determining which way the narrative spins heading into next year's Olympia. It's hard to believe with all the stuff you hear and read about climate change anymore. From what I understand, scientists are still discovering new species all the time. And luckily for you guys, we discovered one on Instagram this week that muscle scientists have named Khalid Alkazem. The Jordanian native is another one of those oxygen gym products who has shoulders that look like they were conjured up in the dark basement lab by guys in white coats who all have 500-pound bench presses. Now at the moment, we haven't heard any official word about whether or not we're going to see Khalid on stage before the end of the season. But if he drops into the right situation, he could definitely put a top 5 scare into a few people. And that does it for yet another edition of Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, reminding you to always be true to your passions. And make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.